Checkups has become a new norm, even if one is healthy. And after checkups, one of the most common diagnoses we find is that of cholesterol. आपने सबने देखा होगा after checkups, the most common diagnosis. I mean to say every person who goes for checkup, ये cholesterol तो ज़रूर आता ही आता है. Now, and after checkups, we are put on lifelong medicine. Statins दी जाती हैं. Rosuvastatin is one of them. तो काफ़ी statins फिर हमें lifelong drugs दे दी जाती हैं. Now, अगर drugs दी जा रही हैं, that means are we sick? Is cholesterol a disease? This is a question mark. We need to think about it. Cholesterol is not a disease. It's very natural actually. Cholesterol हमारे अगर हमें पता चले कि cholesterol का फंडा क्या है, what is it actually? It's very natural. It is made in our liver. 90% of the cholesterol is made in our liver, right? And 10% of it comes from our diet. अभी हमको ये पता ही नहीं है कि अगर हम कुछ भी नहीं खाएंगे, even if we eat grass, even if we drink water, nothing, अगर हम फास्ट पे भी चले जाते हैं, कुछ नहीं खाना भैया, but still cholesterol will be made. 90%. It's a big amount. And why? Why cholesterol? If you happen to see this book, have you heard about this? Have you heard about disease mongering? It's a medical term. And disease mongering is basically inventing disease. There's a beautiful book written by Jorg Blech, Jorg Blech, Inventing Disease and Pushing Pills. He has described that diseases are invented and cholesterol is one of them. Cholesterol is made in our liver. I've told you 90% of it is made in our liver. It's very natural. अब जब liver में बन ही रहा है तो कोई ना कोई तो reason होगा. Liver is not foolish to make cholesterol. We need to understand this. We need to understand this. कि cholesterol बन रहा है 90%. तो क्यों बन रहा है? Because it has to perform various functions. The first function which is required is of cells, to make our cells healthy, to make our immune system healthy. Cell membrane, जो covering है cell membrane, for that cholesterol is needed. आपको infection से बचाने के लिए cholesterol is needed. अगर आपके cells healthy हैं तो आपको infections कम होंगे. That is required actually. Then there's a fat myth story. लोगों को लगता है कि fat नहीं लेना चाहिए हमें. And this was like it has come from America, 1961 guidelines. And if you see their dietary guidelines, it was a caution for them not to take fat. And this has percolated to India. Fat is very much required. Good fat is very much required for our body. And it should be 20 to 25% of the fat. जो भी हम खाना खा रहे हैं उसका 20 से 25% fat. It's not that कि आप fat ही खाते रहो. Right? 20 से 25% fat is very much required for our body. Ghee is required for our body. Eggs, which was American government previously said कि नहीं, it is not required. American government has agreed that cholesterol is not an enemy, it's a friend. And they have agreed to it कि okay, eggs are, there is no harm in taking eggs. Previously, egg का खाना ही नहीं है. Now, they've agreed, okay, they are reversing their submission which was done previously. So, fat theory is also a myth now. Fat is required for our cells. Then, second is of secretion of hormone. For that, cholesterol is required. आपके body में कितने हार्मोन सिक्रिएट होते हैं? For insulin, for diabetes, insulin. अगर आपको stress है, then for that cortisol is required. Then your sleep and waking cycle, for that melatonin and serotonin is required, right? For thyroid, hormone is required. For balancing of the body, hormones is required, and for that cholesterol is needed. Third, for the brain, 60% of our brain is fat. अगर हमारा फैट नहीं जाएगा तो there will be memory loss, right? So for the functioning of brain, fat is required. Then for vitamin D for that cholesterol is required. India में there is lot of sun, we can take advantage. sun के अंदर बैठने से like we get vitamin D out of it. Next is a bile acid. Bile acid is required for the digestion and for the absorption of a fat. Now, if we see the functions of cholesterol, which is very much required, cell membrane, for the formation of cell membrane to protect us from the infection. Then secretion of hormones, for the bile acid, for the proper functioning of brain, for vitamin D. There's so many functions which are required, which are done by cholesterol. और हम cholesterol को respect नहीं कर रहे हैं. We need to respect our cholesterol. Actually, it is making our body strong. It has been studies have been done on the longevity part also. It is in French women. It has been studied that the women in 70s or 80s, they live longer. The simple reason, they are never checked up. Their cholesterol is very high. Even in Japanese studies, this has come up. Even the British Medical Journal says that it's of no use giving them the statins. Studies are going on such factors actually. So the thing is, even if we say in the end, अब हमारा second question ये आता है, हम अगर दवाई खा रहे हैं तो there is reason because we are fearful of prevention. We need to prevent from heart problems and stuff like that. So अब question I will be putting up is whether because risk factors आते हैं हमारे पास, तो एक study I want to discuss with you. That study, the question was whether reduction in risk factor reduces heart diseases. अगर आप risk factor reduce करते हैं तो क्या आप heart disease को reduce कर सकते हैं? And this study was Mr. FIT study, multiple risk factor interventional trial study. This study went for 25 years and this is one of the longest study with 250 researchers, right? And इसमें तीन कौन से risk factors reduce करने को बोले? First one, reduce your cholesterol, reduce your BP and smoking cessation. Smoking नहीं करना, BP को reduce करना है और cholesterol को reduce करना है. ये तीनों को reduce करिए तो क्या आप heart disease से बच सकते हैं? This was the question. And the study said simply no. As per the study, there is no such risk factor. Rather, it is our emotions which are the risk factors. Stress is the risk factor. Our anger is a risk factor. Rather, we are more worried about our BP, about our diabetes, about our thyroid and stuff like that. We are not worried about our emotions. So everything comes from your emotions. There's a beautiful book. After reading all this, after going through all this chain, if you read this book, Cholesterol Myths, because this is a Danish writer, Danish medical doctor, and an independent researcher, Uffe Ravnskov, UFFE, Ravnskov, Ravnskov. He's aged 86 years, right now. He's there. And he's been fighting and he's been studying, he's been writing articles that cholesterol is a myth. His recent study, which was published in Expert Review of Clinical Pharmacology, it stated, the study said, LDL does not cause cardiovascular diseases. And the study was conducted on 1.3 million people with 17 physicians, and he was one of them. Uffe Ravnskov was one of them. So, America, there's so many studies which are going on, and we are least bothered ki what is happening around. People are submitting their papers, they are giving their studies, their results, and we are busy taking drugs. Rather, these drugs have side effects, which we are not aware. No doctor would say that it has a side effect. No medicine prescription will say back of it. It is carrying with it with some side effects. What side effects? Maybe you may turn to be pre-diabetic after a certain time period. आपको लेते रहोगे because it's a lifelong drug. आप लेते रहो because cholesterol and diabetes are going parallel, side by side. There can be memory loss. There can be muscular pain. अगर आप healthy हैं और ये drugs ले रहे हैं, then it's an indication कि it's not for you. Muscular pain, then muscle loss. There's so many side effects which are there. So we need to think about it. A lot of thinking is required before we take some kind of medication. And I think the best medication is your lifestyle. If we can keep our lifestyle better, strong, then we can avoid so many hassles. We need to keep our lifestyle good. We need to think about it. We need to act wisely. Think about it. Thank you.